Eremos is more than a name. It's a way of life. It's our sanctuary, our escape from the noise, and our connection to the deeper meaning of our lives. It's about finding joy in the outdoors, seeking growth, and leaving the world a better place than we found it. Welcome to Elevate and Explore, a podcast where we dive into the beauty of nature, self-discovery, and the endless possibilities that come with living intentionally. Welcome to our journey.
So just the excitement of first off being the first guest kind of outside of the US is pretty incredible. And then, your stats of your author, your books, your publishing. You did say you were a self-published author, correct?
Yeah.
And did I hear correctly? It was like 50 books?
54 to be exact at the moment.
That's
yeah,
right.
and I always work on new projects all the time. So yeah, like I told you before, I kind of publish books that are very simple to make. So it's not all like 500 pages, very complicated. It's like journals, coloring books, planners, and stuff like that. So it brings me passive income, allows me to be as creative as I want to be, and I'm enjoying it, and it brings me money on the side as well. So yeah it's good.
What are you typically writing about?
So I actually wrote one book, and that's on personal development, and it's actually like a memoir about my life. And so that was really challenging, but a beautiful work of art at the same time. And yeah, so it was about my journey, how I found God, that like the life that I was living without God that led me to depression, suicidal thoughts, and yeah, all the stuff that kind of played a role in that, and then how I got out of it, how things changed for me. And it's a beautiful book, but the other ones that I publish are mostly just like journals for people to reflect on a certain topic, or like I have coloring books. I have one with Bible verses because that's something I'm passionate about, and it helps people at the same time. So I have lots of different types of like books and niches that I enjoy making books in. I don't just stick to one. A lot of people, they say you should stick to one niche, you should stick to just one thing, but I personally don't find that interesting. I prefer to just do what my mind tells me and see what happens.
So it's absolutely fascinating. Aaron and I were talking about some of this last night, and we covered almost all of those exact topics. And Aaron's breakthrough was like, I need a niche, and I was like, you are the niche. Just do it. Yeah, it's funny. So
yeah, and
awesome.
to be honest with you, like I am very multi-passionate. So like you guys as well, you both like personal development, but then you are also like into exploring and nature, and then faith and breaking through fears and all that stuff. So how do you actually niche down? I truly don't believe in like niching down. I believe in like just being yourself fully and see where God guides you through that. It's good. It's obviously smart to niche down sometimes, but then at the same time, why limit ourselves? Why limit ourselves?
No, and that's it's ironic. Is there's 8 point something billion people in the world. We are the niche. We are unique. We are one of a kind, no matter how alike or different we may seem. So, being the reflection of our true selves, what we enjoy, doing things that we naturally like that bring us to, serving purpose and helping others in kind, on top of having fun, that's the niche. That's kind of what we were put here on earth to do.
Absolutely. I think like we are such a complex creatures because I believe in God, and we are all made in the image of God, and God is complex as well. So how can we niche down? How can we limit ourselves when there is so much to each one of us? We all have multiple talents, multiple gifts, multiple things that we can offer to other people and serve people in different ways. So it's good to actually allow yourself to just explore that, like where that's gonna lead you, and see what you enjoy the most. Because that's also what life is about, isn't it? Like just allowing yourself to be truly happy. Because otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, last night Ryan and I were talking. I'm trying to create a high ticket item to help men going through divorce and different things, and just toss around all sorts of ideas on myself. And I just have this idea in my head that I need to really get like this exact person that I'm going to market to this exact person. I was talking to Ryan about last night, and he helped me broaden my perspective that maybe I don't need to go that deep, maybe branch out a little more and spread my gifts. And then I came up with the idea of maybe, or Ryan helped me come up with the idea of maybe helping people with clarity, come up with clarity. That was a big thing that I've realized over the past years, what I really want out of life and what I don't want, and helping direct people towards that.
Yeah, and actually, that's actually a really, really great point, because I personally, like, I work with people on mindset, and majority of people actually struggle with clarity, knowing what they want out of life, where they're headed. So if you create some kind of tool for people that can help them with that, I'm sure so many people would benefit from something like that. And actually, interesting enough, I was like, before this call a few hours ago, I was actually thinking about creating some kind of journal, or some kind of journal, a tool for people who would be maybe going through a breakup or divorce or something like that, because a lot of people like struggle whenever this occurs, and there are multiple ways to help somebody. So I was actually like thinking about maybe making a journal that people could benefit from, and then you actually brought up the fact that you're thinking about like creating some kind of high ticket offer. So that's really interesting, because like great minds think alike, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, maybe we could get together later and toss around some ideas. Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like, how do you see it? Like, at the moment, is it going to be some kind of program that you will be guiding people through, or?
I was thinking about potentially doing like a one-on-one, and then potentially a group. So one-on-one in setting, maybe once or twice a week with an individual, and then maybe a group setting every other week. Don't have it fully nailed down yet, still in the early stages of figuring this all out. But I'd gone through a divorce a year and a half ago, and I know a lot of people often almost make it like the end of the world, and fall into a deep dark hole. And for me, I turned it into an excellent opportunity for growth. I have a very different person.
Yeah.
Not completely, but I've become a much better person, put a lot of time into self-development and figuring out what I want and getting rid of the limiting beliefs, and fully just going all in on myself. And I want to share that with people, and show people that just because you go through a divorce doesn't mean it's the end of the world. If anything, it's one of the greatest opportunities to completely reinvent yourself and really go after what you really want.
Yeah, 100%. It's all about growth, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's any of these traumatic or very challenging situations we get into where you lose a lot of hope. Things happen quick, and you get into a point where emotions take over, and you get a couple kicks to the belly, and all of a sudden you just feel like you're down. And I always remember growing up, one of the most inspiring things I think my mother and my grandmother ever told me was, you just got to pick yourself, dust yourself off, and keep going, get back in the race. And it took me, I would tell you, probably 15 to 20 years for that thought to actually sink in and really understand what it meant. But there is so much that happens in a day to just overwhelm yourself and dread and fear and just overthink these little teeny tiny changes. And then to think, Aaron and I were talking last night that we've been doing this for 9 months. That 9 months has flown by. That's 9 months, which comes out to like 35 episodes for a week for, 4 a month. And the amount of change and growth and just the stimulus that it creates to nurture an environment where your entire mindset can be changed and altered. It's just incredible. And then you get around different people, you get around just different environments. Same for you. I think we just popped up out of thin air one day. We get an email and it's like, yeah, sure, we'll take a chance on it. And then we just have so much in common. It's this, I don't want to say necessarily manifestation, but it's an alignment. I've used that term quite a bit the past couple of days, but the more you start saying, this is what I want, this is who I want to be around, this is the type of person I want to become, that starts pouring into your life, and it just happens. Like there's no rhyme or reason for it. It's just God talking to us.
It is wild.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I always trust that like God connects me to the right people at the right time. And it's the truth. It always happens. Like you can't explain it otherwise. There are so many people in this world, different time zones, different countries. Like, how do you explain people just connected like so quickly, with one another? Like it's deeper than we understand. There is more to it. Like 100%, it's entire like alignment. And it's definitely amazing to dedicate your time to something for such a long period of time, because you discover so much about yourself, and also you get to meet other people in the process. You push yourself out of the comfort zone, because I find that a lot of people, they just want to stay comfortable. They are
Hmm.
afraid to take chances, and that's why they stay stuck, and that's why they don't achieve great things in life, because in order to achieve something you have never had, you have to do something you never did before. So one way to do it is, yeah, like for example, bringing people on a podcast and talking to each other, and yeah, brainstorming and speaking about topics, because that's how we can learn from one another and become something greater.
Yeah. You
Sure.
said a great thing there. I mean, a big thing is growth comes from discomfort. So many people are so stuck in like, well, why can't I get anywhere? Nothing's happening. Well, they're not doing anything. They're not getting out of their comfort zone. Well, that's too tough. That's scary. That this or that, and just all these limiting beliefs and all this fear inside of them. And that's what keeps people from growing and becoming what they want. And I really love picking people's brains and trying to find these fears and limiting beliefs of how I can help them unlock them. Like, wow, that's really all that's holding me back. I was just scared of the dark. I was just scared of this. I was scared of that. And just getting over all these little things one by one, and it can completely change your life. But yeah, you have to get into discomfort to get into growth.
Yeah,
So
100%.
Dominika, just because we're still early on into this, can you give us some context, of where you came from, how you ended up where you are now, and give us some backstory,
Yeah,
especially location-wise. The location's important here.
100%. Yeah. So I was born in Poland. And when I was growing up, actually, my parents had a business and it was quite successful. But at the same time, then, my parents had a lot of debt and stuff like that. So three of my older siblings, like the oldest, my brother and my two sisters, I actually come from a family of like, I have six sisters and one brother. Okay.
Wow.
So three of my oldest siblings, they actually moved to Ireland. And then we kind of came here later on with my parents. This was in 2009. They told us that we are only coming here for a holiday. I never really believed them. But they said we are coming for a holiday, and we actually ended up staying here. So obviously some of my other sisters, they were upset, but I kind of always knew that it might be for the better. And so I moved here, only knowing just a little bit of English, because in Poland I was learning English, but it was such so just really, really like basics. I mean, I only knew like stuff inside your pencil case and stuff like that. Like I couldn't speak to anybody. But anyway, so I went to primary school, and yeah, I was learning and stuff like that. And a lot of things happened in my life. So there was like a lot of traumas, leaving your country, and then traumas because my parents were quite absent when I was growing up, because they were always busy with the business. They were sacrificing themselves, and it was beautiful because I learned a lot of things from them, like the determination and the stamina to keep going, and the lessons that unfortunately they had to kind of go through. And of course, in the process, it was beautiful because they always took us on trips and we got to travel a lot around Poland. But yeah, life played out like that we ended up in Ireland. And so I grew up here, and I went to secondary school and university later on as well. But I was just living in depression because of a lot of the traumas that happened in the past. And I became really depressed and actually drove myself with my own brain, because I was dwelling in the past so much, that I drove myself to having suicidal thoughts. And I really felt like there's no point in living. I was quite positive, but then at the same time very negative towards myself, towards my own life. And I just became hateful. I started hating my life. And what happened after was that I was really looking, to change my life. I said, like, things have to change or otherwise, like, I'm gone. So I started diving deeper into like personal development, but it just wasn't sufficient enough for me to actually receive that healing of mind that I needed, because I was holding on to a lot of resentment towards the people that hurt me in the past, and just unforgiveness, which just drove me crazy. And, I couldn't sleep at night. It was just a really dark place. So in June 2023, I really got to the point that I was like, I think like my life is gonna end, like I'm gonna end my life. And one night I prayed out to God and I said, like, God, like, you fix me or take me away, because I can't do it by myself. Like, you help me or just take me away. And a beautiful miracle actually happened, because God physically came to me in my room and he gave me a hug and he took all my worries away. So it was a true blessing. And in that moment, I realized why we forgive. So we don't forgive because the people didn't hurt us. We forgive because when we hold on to the past, we are hurting ourselves. Mm-hmm. So in that moment, I went on this journey of discovering who God really is, and more about myself, more about life, more about personal development. And it took like a lot of growth. A lot of learning from other people, mindset work, because without it, I wouldn't be here where I am today. So I obviously, in that transition, I was working like a normal job, a normal 9 to 5, and I wasn't enjoying it. And I always felt like I am meant to be, somebody who is self-employed, not somebody who works for someone in a regular job, because creative work is exciting for me, but, a normal office work, I just didn't really enjoy it. Mm-hmm. So at that point in 2023, I started publishing my own books because I really wanted to quit my full-time job. So anytime I would listen to personal development videos and then publishing books. So I started publishing like simple things, journals, planners, notebooks, coloring books, all that kind of stuff. And in that time, I was also diving so deep into personal development. It was changing my life. So I kind of felt that calling that I am also supposed to teach people about mindset growth, how to go after the life of your dreams. And so I was publishing books. I was learning more about mindset. And I said, you know what, like, I really feel like God wants me to teach other people about mindset, be that person who encourages, motivates, and inspires. So last September, I actually quit my full-time job and I started doing all of this full-time. So that's where I am now, like publishing books and then helping people with mindset as well. And it's been a hard journey. I had to fight through a lot of fear and, the mindset blogs, but it's been so worth it. So worth it. Even though if it was uncomfortable at times, it was the best thing I did for myself. So that's what's happening now.
I love that leap of faith and just betting on yourself, believing in yourself, and just leaving securities, leaving comfort to go and chase your own thing. I can relate that very highly. I'm in the process of working on that. I work for my family business now. I've been there for 10 years. I always kind of knew I would be in it. I did it for my grandpa, kind of, but he passed away 2 years ago. And after he passed, the passion that I had left kind of died with him. And now the different things I'm working on, I realize I can't be there forever. I don't have the purpose behind it. I don't have the fulfillment. And so my plan is to leave there, in May or June of 2026. I can't just leave now. I want to help create some things so that things are okay once I leave. But yeah, I just decided that I need to just fully believe in myself, just fully go all in and have faith that it's going to work out. So yeah, I love that. Love hearing that you did that.
Yeah, and that's really beautiful, that you discovered that about yourself, because a lot of people just stay stuck in the
Hmm.
same place, and then they look at their life and say, why am I so unhappy? Like, why am I not feeling great? Why is my health getting worse as well? Because actually, being in the wrong environments can destroy your health as well. So
Absolutely.
it's really important and to actually look at yourself and say, no, I want to do this. This is my call, and this is what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing in life. So it's really beautiful that you discovered that and you're allowing yourself that time to make that transition in a, with integrity and in the correct way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of it comes down to, choosing your own type of hard. It's hard to go to work for somebody. It's hard to get up and go to a job and do the same thing over and over and over again. It's equally as hard to make change. It's equally as hard to look in the mirror and say, I'm the problem. I need to be the one to change this because nobody else is going to do it for
Hmm.
you. And then once you start taking accountability and you find good people to be around and you get a couple small wins and things start, being the shining light, or almost like a heaven sent kiss of there's more out there, it makes it all worth it. And now it makes the hard struggle, the challenge, kind of a fun game to play. Is how much harder can I make it to see what the reward is? And it's a double-edged sword at times, but it's definitely more fun than the monotony and mundane day-to-day of staying the same.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And it really is like that. There is nothing 100% easy in this life. We are
And
supposed to choose our heart and just go for what makes us happy and go towards that goal and that dream that we have, because we are meant to have a great life. We are not meant to just be here and be stuck in one place. Like, it's normal to work a job you don't like. Everybody starts like that. I worked on the dishes,
Hmm.
like I worked I worked in KFC before. Everybody starts somewhere. But then eventually you get to the point of your life, you say, like, I want more. How do I get there? What's the easiest way to do it? And it's not that it's always going to be easy, because there is mindset, there is health sometimes, but yes, 100%, it's important to go for what will make you truly happy, because you are going to live with yourself for the rest of your life. So you should be that priority.
Yeah, I think people need to realize that it's not realize, but just face that it's much better to do something that you're truly passionate about and truly get fulfillment from. Maybe it's less income than doing something you really hate, but you're making good money. And that's something I realize is I'd much rather risk it in with no guaranteed income to pursue something that brings me purpose, brings me fulfillment.
Yeah.
Aaron and I were talking last night. We didn't record it, but it's a great message that ties well to this. Is when we read the Bible, the first couple pages talks about Genesis 1 was creating earth, and we created a garden, and then you had to go tend the garden. So the whole fundamental of being on earth is to work. That's
Yeah.
given. That has to happen. So you can either work and get fulfillment, or you can work to just make ends meet. You can work for purpose and fulfillment, or you can work to just stay the same kind of thing. And at that point of acknowledging service, purpose, fulfillment, and enjoyment, it makes the work fun, and it doesn't seem like work. It's something that gives you excitement to get up and try it again today and keep going at it. And I think that's really one of the highlights of the personal growth journey is finding something that you can stick with long term.
Yeah. That's what it's about, exactly. And to be honest, actually, when you look into who God is and when you look into who you are because of God, you understand that we have been placed here for a purpose. And that purpose is usually tied to our God-given gift. And everybody has a different gift. We are not meant to always follow our parents' steps or grandparents, this
Mhm.
usual same like patterns of the people in the past. We are meant to actually do something different. We are meant to do something that might be uncomfortable, but it will be the best thing that we do for ourselves. So
Yeah. Sometimes it's tough to find that purpose, that fulfillment. It took me going through the divorce to kind of, for mine to come true fruition, for me to realize it. I found that I really enjoy helping people. I really enjoy giving. Most of my life I always wanted to take and take and take and take. And now I realize I have so much joy just giving away knowledge, giving away money, giving away things just to help other people. And that's how I want to, pursue my life, in a way of giving back to others in some sort of capacity. Exactly what that is, I'm still working on that, but that's my gift, is giving to people, helping others.
that's really beautiful, honestly, because you know, it just shows how God can take any scenario and use it for your for your own good. And obviously you're still in the process of discovering what does it truly mean to serve people, what does it truly
Mhm.
mean to use that gift of serving. And I'm excited for you to like go on that journey to discover that even more, because if that makes you happy, that means that's what you should be doing. And now it's a matter of just taking those small steps, because it's not going to be just like you're on level 5 and now you're going to jump to like level 50. It takes, one level at a time.
Oh
That's
yeah.
what I always say, one small level at a time. And then you will actually discover like what this truly means, where God wants to lead you. Because I also went on that journey, and still, I am helping people in different ways, but I know that this is only like a small grain of sand compared to where God wants to lead me in the future. So it's beautiful to just like obey and take those tiny steps and see what happens after.
I think that's one of the big things that really discourages people from pursuing things, is the slow amount of time it takes. I mean, I look back at the progress I've made in the past year. Yeah, I've made a lot of progress, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not really that much, but it is greater than I was. And people get so caught up, especially now, today's society, everybody wants everything now, instant gratification. And to really pursue your purpose, figure out what your purpose is, it's going to take time. And especially once you realize it, to then grow it and turn it into something, it all takes time. And I think that's something that turns a lot of people off, is they want it now, and they don't want to wait and work for it. They don't want to do the consistency every day that it takes, working late, doing this, doing that, putting in that time.
Yeah. A lot of people get discouraged because they compare themselves to other people, somebody who is successful already, and they forget to look at the facts, which are everybody starts with 0 and then they build onto it. But if you're looking at somebody who already has like 1 million subscribers, or it's a millionaire already, you can sometimes get discouraged. You're looking at your numbers and you're thinking, where's like my reward for that? But we have to like remember to just do it slowly, because then like you will receive the big reward. And to be honest, everything that's worth keeping takes time to build. When you get a random influx of money or like fame, it usually doesn't last. It's usually not worth keeping. Those people that like go viral for one video and then everybody just forgets about them. Yeah. So I'm kind of like myself right now. I focus on just not the numbers, but the impact, like serving people with pure heart, like pure intentions, and allowing it to just grow in its own time. I trust that God will guide me to the correct people. Yeah.
It's the analogy of tending a garden is, if we just planted a garden and got vegetables tomorrow, they probably wouldn't be worth much, but you give them a couple of weeks to actually get a chance to get roots established, a foundation. Everything underground you don't see until it starts sprouting up out of the ground, and then before you know it, it just constantly flourishes. And then if you don't maintain it, it gets out of control. So it's constant. It's just a constant effort, and you're not looking at it as a reward. You're just looking at it as, the path, the journey, the work, all of the things to enjoy more so than the outcome.
Yeah. So important to enjoy like where you're heading. And that's why it's important to like not work in these places that are maybe toxic or don't make you happy. And sometimes, like, a lot of people, they stay in jobs that they don't like just to make more money. Like, what's the point of having more money if you're unhappy, right? You might sacrifice yourself for a little bit because you have a goal, but then, like, if you're doing it nonstop and you're not looking for a way out of that place, like, what's the point? It's important to enjoy your life, because God wants us to have a happy, beautiful life. He doesn't want us to suffer, struggle all the time.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah, what's the point if we don't get to actually do the things we enjoy that bring us, joy other than just working, going out and being out in the outdoors, writing books, whatever brings you joy. Life's too short to not be able to do the things you enjoy.
Yeah, a lot of the times we as adults forget to take the time to just be creative or allow ourselves to do something that we enjoy, because we say, like, it's serious, like, we have to be serious, we're adults now, we gotta work, we gotta make money, we gotta build families or something. But, like, no, we have to allow ourselves to enjoy ourselves in the meantime, do something that we love, do something that we enjoyed as a kid, because, like, why not? It's our life. Yeah. It's our life. And those simple moments actually make up majority of our life. Like drinking a coffee that you enjoy, eating your dinner, like hiking, going somewhere. Like all those like simple moments make up majority of our life. So it's important to enjoy ourselves in the meantime, in between going towards that goal that we have.
Yep. Still got to embrace the inner child and feed that inner child. I think too many people let it die. Like, nope, like you said, I'm an adult now. I have responsibilities. There's no time for fun. No, that inner child is always there, and they're just screaming to, let you have fun.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there are many different ways to do that, right? Because a lot of people say, oh, I can't enjoy myself because I don't have money. Like, it doesn't cost you anything. I always say, for example, like, let's take a routine that you're doing on a daily basis. Like, you're eating dinner every single day. Why not eat it in your back garden if the weather is nice? Or pack yourself that lunch in that dinner in a lunch box and go to a park and eat it there. Mm-hmm. Enjoy the birds singing, enjoy the weather. Like, it doesn't take money. You're gonna do it anyway. Like, have that coffee in the garden, have that dinner in your back garden.
Yes.
And people just forget about that. They attach like memories to money. But actually, for example, you have a car already, go somewhere on a trip, go to a place you've never been in. Like, it won't cost you crazy amount of money to do that, to go somewhere in your area. Right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like that idea of people always complain. Yeah, I gotta have money to go do this or that. Go find a park 5-10 minutes away. Everywhere in the world there's always some sort of park somewhere. Go sit by a pond, go hike through the woods. There's so many things that you can do that cost little to no money.
Yeah, exactly. And we just forget to take that moment sometimes to enjoy the moment that we are in. Like, what I started doing, what really, really changed my life is, anytime I go on a walk now, I try to really, really embrace that walk. So if I see some birds around flying, I stop and I look at them, I watch them, I listen to them. Because why not? I can do that. Like, who's gonna stop me? And sometimes people look at me like, what is she doing? Like, what is she watching? Maybe there is a squirrel or something. But I'm like, no, I'm just watching the birds. But it's so beautiful to enjoy that nature that God gave us. Like, the earth is so beautiful, and we often forget to pause and take all that in, don't we?
Stop and live in the moment. Absolutely. That I've been doing similar things. As I was hiking down a mountain, and there was a couple deer there. They're about 15 yards away from me, and I just stood there for about 20 minutes and just watched them. It was beautiful. It was so peaceful. Didn't have to be anywhere. Just stopped and embraced the nature, and just expressed gratitude for that beautiful moment. Gratitude. That's another massive thing that's really helped me lately. Is in the past, I always was looking for the next best thing. And what's really changed my perspective and what's really changed some growth for me, I feel like making things come easier, is every day I talk about all the different things I'm grateful. Number one, I woke up this morning. Thank you for my family. Thank you for this podcast. Thank you for the business. Thank you for this apartment. Just all the simple things that we take for granted every day. People always want more and more, and they forget what they already have. You have a nice bed to sleep on tonight. You have a heat, so you don't have to be out in the cold. Just the simple things that we so often forget. So just expressing gratitude for all these amazing things that we all have.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Gratitude actually allows us to live in the moment, but also actually to receive more from God as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because how do you expect God to give you more if you're not even grateful for what you have right now? He's gonna give it to you and you won't be grateful for it. You won't enjoy it. You won't be happy. Like, what's the point? So
I think
actually,
that's
yes.
it's like one of the most important parts of, as your day is beginning and as your day is ending, just be thankful for a sunrise or a sunset. It only lasts a couple minutes. You don't have to sit there and watch it for hours, and it comes and goes before you know it. And it's just, not everyone's perfect, but some of them are pretty darn good.
Yes. So true. And like embracing every season, right? Pausing and taking it all in and being grateful for this beautiful like earth. Even the fact that like we get to breathe the oxygen so easily, we don't even have to think about it. Being grateful for the ability to walk, to speak. Like we often overlook those things, but when you actually like are grateful for those things, you start loving yourself more. And in the process, you, because you begin to love yourself more, you respect yourself more, and you allow yourself to go towards the life that you really want. You don't allow other people to like tell you, do this, do that, this is right for you, because you love yourself, not from a place of like you're like full of yourself, but truly love yourself because you should love yourself. It's the right thing to do. Like you are who you are. You have a beautiful soul, like God created you, and we should like love ourselves to the point that we respect our decisions, we respect the boundaries. Like there's so much to like self-love.
Self-love has become so important for me. It was something I always overlooked. I always took things for granted. And one day I did some mirror work. Didn't even know I was doing. I just was standing there in the mirror and just staring myself in the eyes. I was like, what the hell am I doing? And just stared. And then I came back, did it again a couple of days later, and just kept doing it and realized, I can look inwards and see what I like externally, what I don't like externally, what I like internally, what I don't like internally. And I realized that I can change all these things that I don't like about myself. And I've put the time in to get rid of the things that no longer serve me and just really learn to love myself. Like, I'm not perfect, but I love where I'm at. Like, I've created a really cool life, created a great community around me. And I really couldn't ask for much more at the moment. And I really truly love myself. And I think that's something that a lot of us lack. A lot of us, we talk down on ourselves. When something bad happens, oh, well, you're a piece of shit. Why did you do that? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm guilty of that. I did that for a while, and someone called me out on it. I didn't even realize I was doing it. And once it was called out, I no longer talk down on myself. So just fully embracing and loving myself, the good, the bad, the ugly, and just I am who I am, and what I don't like, I can change.
Yeah. And a lot of us talk to ourselves like we wouldn't even talk to our worst enemy in that way. And we speak to ourselves like that. And when we speak to ourselves like that, what life do we create? Where are we gonna go? We are not gonna get anywhere because we just feel demotivated, discouraged. Like, we wouldn't even want to be around somebody who would speak to us like that. But then we talk to ourselves like that. No wonder then we don't live a happy life. And I also did that myself as well. I would criticize myself, like, for making mistakes, for the way I looked. And then I would be like, no, like, what am I doing? This is not okay. It's not okay to do that. Like, yeah.
So I'd like to take a moment and kind of shift on to, I'm still trying to wrap my head around publishing 54 books. So maybe they're not long, but I do want to know a little bit more. So I guess my question is first, like, what is the most successful or the most, what's your best book that you've got right now? What's one that you've worked on for a while and you've got a good bunch of feedback on it?
To be honest with you, because as I said, I have like a mixture of books, like journals, planners, coloring books, activity books for children and stuff like that. A lot of these books actually didn't take me a very long time to make. So I have one journal, which is just a simple journal with prompts. And it's a journal that people get to buy, and then they give it to their mom or they give it to their dad, and the parent gets to like reflect on the questions that are inside of it. And later on, when it's finished, the parent is supposed to give it to their kids as a form of legacy, so you can learn more about your parents and stuff like that. And it's a beautiful gift. And this journal took me about an hour to make. I'm not even joking, an hour or two to make. Because right now you have tools like AI, so they can help you, they can guide you. And, prompts for simple journals, like they're not copyrighted. So you get to use AI. So for this kind of books, I sometimes use AI. For my memoir that I wrote, I don't use it. Like I never used AI for it because copyrights, and it just doesn't feel right for me. But journals, 100% you can. So this journal took me about an hour or two to make. I made a beautiful cover for it. I uploaded it on my Amazon account, and it sells for me worldwide. And people don't even know that they're buying it from me because I publish under pen names majority of my books, like because I have books that are under so many different genres. I wanted to keep them separate to build more trust with the customers. So people don't even know me, like when they're buying it and they're buying it. So there is a mixture of the books that I make, like to answer your question. Some of them take literally like an hour to make because they're so simple. And once I made one journal, I kind of have the template already made, and I just change the questions, I change the cover, and I upload it as a separate book onto Amazon. And then there are other ones that took me maybe, a few days because it's a coloring book. So obviously by the time I edit the images and stuff like that, because I also don't draw them myself, I use AI because I have some kind of like artistic talent, but not to the point that I would be able to actually draw images like from scratch. So I use AI to create like coloring book pages, and I edit it to make sure it's perfect, because as you maybe already used AI, and it's not always perfect. The lines are not always good. So I take the time to edit the images as needed, and then I just put it all together into a book and I sell it. And then sometimes it might take me like 2 or 3 weeks to make a book, because I'm making maybe like an activity book for kids. And obviously that takes some more time. There are activities that need to be made and stuff like that. But I just allow myself to enjoy the process. And to be honest, I found that like when I enjoy making the book, that's when it actually sells way better. Versus when I was not enjoying the book, it wasn't selling as much. So I now just allow myself to be as creative as I want. I pick I look online and I'm like, what kind of book could I create? Sometimes I come up with the idea myself, or I get inspired by someone else. And I just allow myself to do what lights me up. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Let me do a book like that. And I make it and then see if it sells.
On your personal growth journey, and you've changed your life significantly in a very short time frame, do you have a favorite prompt or a favorite maybe a journal entry or a question that you might think would be very helpful to somebody?
Oh, that's a hard question to answer, to be honest, because it really depends on where the person is at the moment. So I as a personal development coach, like I work with people who have a business, who don't have a business, who are self-employed already, who are in college. So it really depends on where the person is, but I find that the most useful question to answer yourself in your life is, what do I really want out of life? But don't answer it in a way that most people do. I used to do the same. So if somebody would ask me, like, what do you really want out of life? I would be really struggling to answer that because of the fact that I would be attaching how much money I have in the bank to the answer. So I would be like, well, I want this, but maybe it will happen, but maybe not. And I wouldn't really actually make a proper goal for my life. So what I do now is I really allow myself to dream and say, if money wouldn't be a factor, if money didn't exist, you had unlimited amount of money, where would you want to be? What would you be doing in life? Because that's how you know what you should, that's how you find out what you should be doing in life, what you will really enjoy. Like for some people, it can be, running a podcast. For some people, it can be becoming an author. For some people, it can be like being an artist. And majority of the times, it's the things that maybe you even wanted to do when you were a child, but people told you that's not realistic. Like, you won't get money in this way. So yeah, I hope I answered your question, but I would say that a beautiful thing to ask yourself is, if money wasn't an issue, I had unlimited amount of money in the bank right now, what would I want to be doing? And really sitting with yourself with that question and answering, brainstorming. Because for some people, it can look like having a farm. For some people, success and happiness would mean living beside the beach and being able to swim every day. And for some people, it would literally mean like, let me live in the middle of like nowhere in Alaska, just fishing every day. And that's how you know what will really truly make you.
Before?
Yeah.
I love that. I love that prompt. I have a friend right now. She's going through a divorce, and we were hanging out the other day, and I was asking her some different questions. And I asked her a very similar question to that because she's a little unsure what to do right now. I was like, if you had unlimited funds and you could literally go do whatever you wanted, what would you go do? She's like, wow, that's a really cool question, and reflected on for a while, and gave me a good answer on it. But yeah, that's a phenomenal prompt, phenomenal question.
And we talk about it on this podcast. The personal growth journey, it is something that hits home. Both Aaron and I have had to evolve, not because of somebody else influenced us. I think we just aligned and said, we want to do this together. And I went and started doing some things. Aaron started doing some things. And then we've really had some great conversations here. I said to him last night, I said, quite honestly, it's like, I almost feel like sometimes Aaron is my accountability coach, or my coach, because I've got to almost pay him sometimes for some of the questions he comes up with. But, when we're talking about growth and we're talking about getting out of, a negative mindset and actually aligning yourself with the life that you want, we've said, go look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, who am I? Where do I want to be? What do I want to do? What do I like doing? We did a 4-square exercise last night of what do I like to do and I'm good at? What do I like to do that I'm not good at? What do I not like to do but I'm good at? And what do I not like to do and what am I not good at? And that little 4-square chart, it's funny. I've done that exercise a couple times with a few different people, and the list of things you like to do and you're good at is always bigger than what you think.
That was so easy. I did that last night.
Wow.
Right? And
the rest of it was hard.
The list of things that you don't like to do and you're not good at is very small, because you just don't. There's very unlikely chance you're out there doing things that you don't like to do on a day-to-day basis. And those, I would be very interested in getting together as a group and let's come up with some questions just as a fun exercise, even if we did end up monetizing it as a journal, but to really dig deeper on some of those questions. I think it's just a fascinating concept. And I think, quite honestly, everybody needs a little sticky note that you can keep in your pocket, of a pocket journal.
That's so true. And actually, yes, in order for us to get somewhere that we really want to be, we should ask ourselves questions, but the correct questions. Because you can be asking yourself a question, what do I really want? But like I said, you could be attaching money to it, and that's why you don't think it's possible. A lot of people feel stuck because of that fact. Actually, they say like, I don't really know what I want, because they tried things before and they didn't work out. They have experiences from the past that prove that something cannot work out. So yeah, asking yourself like the correct questions, that's how you get those shifts in your mindset, and you grow so much quicker, so much quicker. And yeah, it's so powerful to meet with other people and brainstorm and see how other people think, because you learn so much quicker, so much quicker.
Well, to your point, you know, if I ask you the question is like, what are you? You could give me a whole list of answers. But then if you help add in some context, are you a winner or are you a loser? Well, that's a question to think about. Where did you win? And not necessarily, you know, check mark, but outline all the reasons why you've lost. Outline all the reasons why you've won. And your list, again, the things that you really won at is always going to outweigh the things that you've lost, because typically if you've lost it, you really didn't need it anyway. Then there's, you know, some context that needs to be added there. There's some existential crises that may impact that. But for the majority of context, materialistic things, if you've lost them, they probably didn't matter.
Yeah.
And you can always get them back.
Always
go do it again.
Yeah. And some things are not meant to be in our lives as well, or God doesn't want us to have, or God doesn't feel like we are ready for it yet. So yeah, if we lose it or we don't receive it yet, might not necessarily be it's a no 100%. It might just not be the time. I actually recently recorded like a video about that the time, maybe sometimes we are not ready to like receive, you know, because the losing, it's another thing, but to receive something that you truly want in life. We might be impatient, but actually God's time, it's always perfect. When you reflect on your life, you're like, yeah, actually that worked out perfect. And sometimes it's hard when we are in that transition and we are waiting and doing the right things, and we feel like, God, like when? But then you look back and you're like, makes sense why I haven't received it. I wasn't ready for it.
I have a personal example that just hits home. You know, a couple weeks ago, I was sitting here and I was a little bothered because I was like, my situation's not exactly what I want. And I have a very bad tendency. The only reason I really keep Snapchat anymore is because I have a ton of memories, photographic memories of a couple years ago, travel and just places I've been and funny things. And I was looking back on some of these adventures I had, and I look back at, you know, a whole glance of a year, and I was in a job I didn't like. I was a raging alcoholic. Aaron and I, as best friends, we only talked once or twice a year, and if we hung out, it was maybe a once in a while weekend. I was mentally, I was not in a great place. I was very upset, depressed, just mentally out of it. I had a lot of hatred and anger towards things that didn't really make sense. And I looked back and I was like, man, I really wish I could travel. I really wish I could go and have that similar life again. And it dawned on me that the reason I got to explore and go out and see some of these places was the reminder that there's something greater out there than the position I was in. And now I'm sitting here like, man, I really wish I was on that elk hunting trip. I really wish I was out in the ocean deep sea fishing. And the reality is like, to your point earlier, you don't need money. You don't need these lavish experiences. You don't need to have, you know, this luxurious resort to go in and have a good time. I mean, I could take a fishing rod and within a mile from my house, I could go sit in a stream somewhere and catch a fish. That's the purpose of enjoyment. Like that's the reward, right? That's being in the outdoors. That's fishing. That's being close to home. That's having a family. That glorifies all the things that I've asked for. And I'm not being grateful for the circumstance that I have in front of me. And I'm trying to compare it to something that is, you know, costly. It takes a bunch of money. It takes a bunch of time and resources. A hunting trip. I'd love to be out on that elk hunting trip, but why not be grateful for the ability to just go down the road, sit in a tree stand, and listen to the birds, watch the sunrise, watch the sunset, feel the breeze of the wind, the calmness and stillness of the forest, and those things are what I ask for. That is what I'm glorifying. That is what I'm praising God for, not the ability to just go somewhere and do something, because in the end of it, it's all the same reward. It's the fact that I get another day to do that. And wherever the position is timing of God. That's not up to me. I have to be grateful for every experience and moment that I get to spend out there. So there's the personal development journey is always ebbing and flowing, and sometimes it's up and sometimes it's down, but it sure is a fun journey.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
100%. And I think it's important to remember that we can enjoy the moment, we can enjoy our life. We don't have to wait for circumstances to be perfect or a certain way in order to have fun, in order to enjoy ourselves. Because, like, I always encourage people and say, you have a car, for example, why not take the other turn, like a different turn than you normally do?
Yes.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Just see where the road takes you.
Mhm.
And like your mind thinks different in places you have never been in. So why not do that? Or just allowing yourself, like, you go to the same park every day, but you're just like quickly rushing through it. Take some time to explore, like look around, like treasure the moment that you're in. Allow the sunshine to like warm you up and be grateful for it. Because, yeah, like I said before, like those simple moments make up majority of our life, and we don't have to wait for things to be perfect a certain way to enjoy the moment. We can make any moment special, and that's like gratitude that we talked about earlier. A lot of it comes to gratitude, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Something simple I like to encourage people to do is something that you just touched on a little bit. When you go home from work, most people have to drive somewhere to go to work. Take a different route. See something instead, most days, most people are going to do the same route every single day in and day out.
Yeah.
Switch it up. Like you said, make a left turn, make a right turn, take an extra 5 minutes and see some things you never see. Just that extra little bit of adventure can just bring that much little more joy into your life. It doesn't have to be anything grand. You can just make these little changes in your everyday life that you're already doing otherwise. Just add an extra 5 minutes on your trip, see something new.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because majority of people, they just get stuck in the routine, and then they say like, oh, it's already Friday. And they look
Yeah.
back on the weekend and they say like, I haven't done anything to enjoy myself. That's because you didn't create the opportunity. The opportunity was there. You just didn't take it. Like, take the time to listen to the birds, take the time to take a different route on your way home, and do something different. Like I always say, like, eat the dinner in your backyard, and like, it's that simple. Make yourself a coffee in a beautiful mug. Like, some people, they have beautiful things in their house, nice glasses or cups, and they don't allow themselves to use them. They say this is for guests only. Like, no,
Or a
use it.
special occasion. Make it
Yeah.
a special occasion.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's so important to just enjoy the things you have around you. Like some people save like stuff for a special occasion, like a favorite perfume. They say like, this is only for a special time. This jewelry that I have, it's only for a special time. No, every day is special. Of course, if you're working in the land or something like you're farming, you're not gonna dress up in a beautiful way, because of course you might mess up the clothes. But if you're going somewhere, going for a coffee, going to town, dress nice, you're gonna feel great. Like,
Yes.
make it special. Why not? You already have those things at home. You're gonna feel so wealthy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've got one question, and maybe this is out of bounds, but being from Poland and living in Ireland, do you have any like cultural type favorite foods or special foods that you would consider for a special occasion?
Yeah. Although I try to cook the dishes as well, like in different times of the year, but 100% I feel like Christmas time, like Christmas food in Poland, it's mostly just for Christmas. And I find that now when we are talking about the fact that like every day is special, we get to eat those kind of dishes, like any time of the year, but it's beautiful to also save them on that special occasion. So I think when we are speaking about this thing, there has to be a balance, right? Between allowing yourself to create a special moment every day, but then also treasuring that Christmas cookies, for example, that you only get to eat one time in the year. And of course, you can cook them anytime. You can bake something throughout the whole year. But then, when you feel the cinnamon or stuff like that, and those spices that are like Christmas vibes, then it's like, it makes it special, doesn't it?
Mhm.
But yeah, in Poland, we have like some great food, great food. So I would say that I eat like, I would be in Poland now. I like Irish food. We have some nice things here as well, like an Irish stew or something like that. But yeah, I would say Polish food wins.
So half, I guess, my heritage somewhere in there is Polish. Pierogies are a staple.
Yes.
How are they a comfort
I just
food
had
for you?
pierogies last night.
They're amazing, so delicious. We have different feelings inside them as well, like so yeah, they're so good. And actually some counties in Poland eat pierogi just like for Christmas most of the time, but yeah, I'm kind of used to eating them whenever. Yeah.
So one of my biggest culture shocks. So I grew up in northeastern Pennsylvania, and it was a very heritage-rich area. Like there was every culture possible, and pierogies was like a big deal. That was part of the area that I grew up in. And I started traveling across the country, and I got somewhere, and I was like, they don't have them here. Like it's not even a frozen food that you can go get. Like they just simply don't have them. And I learned
They
how to
don't
make
even know
them,
what it is.
yeah. I learned how to make them, and it's been so long, and it's just one of those like comfort foods you just have to have every so often, and it
Yeah.
just made me think of it.
Yeah, they're so good. I actually like in Ireland we have a lot of Polish shops, so I
Mhm.
can actually buy them frozen and eat them whenever I want. Because yeah, they take a while to make actually like from scratch. But yeah, like we have Polish stores, so I get to still eat some like Polish cuisine and buy some stuff there, like snacks from childhood and stuff like that. So yeah, it's good.
Ireland is gorgeous. I was there when I was about 15 or 16. Did 2 weeks. We drove around the entire country, stayed at Airbnb, bed and breakfasts and castles, and what a gorgeous piece of country. Just the green, and
Yeah.
it was always a little foggy, a little rainy. We had like 2 days where the sun was actually shining.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's beautiful out there. Beautiful culture, good food. I really like it. I'd love to get back there sometime.
Yeah, it's definitely a beautiful country. I always laugh and say Ireland is so beautiful when it's not raining. Because it rains here a lot, although like I live in Dublin, so it's not that bad here. We do have like more sunshine, and actually there was a big heat wave this year, and we actually managed to grow tomatoes like without a greenhouse. So it's actually shocking. It came as a shock
Awesome.
to us because we were like, in Ireland, like tomatoes, it doesn't, there's not that like enough sunshine for that. But actually this year we had a lot of beautiful weather. It's been a true blessing. And yeah, we have loads of cherry tomatoes and the bigger ones as well. So yeah, it's so nice to be able to like eat your own organic like food, yeah, we have only like a little back garden, but it's still nice to be able to plant something and eat that little like one raspberry that finally grew and you're like treasuring. Yeah.
Oh, we had so a couple of weeks ago I started canning, and we have a little garden, a couple rows of tomatoes. We had all kinds of stuff growing, but now it's just down to tomatoes. And I have just enough tomatoes every week that I get like 1 quart jar that I can make into pasta sauce. And the other night we made just pasta with some meat sauce, and it was just that like savory moment of like, I worked the entire year. We grew these things in our laundry room, and I went out and planted them, and then I went and pruned them and maintained them and fed them and watered them. And I mean, it's been quite a few months we've had steady flow of tomatoes, and it's just that little treasured moment that I appreciate so much more now than I ever thought possible. And it's not the quantity. Like, I don't have hundreds of cans of tomato sauce. I only get a couple of them, but it just makes it that much more memorable that it's like you get to, twist the top off of a jar of some fresh stuff that you otherwise might not have. And it's just so good.
Yeah, it's so nice to be able to do that, and it makes you appreciate it so much, and it makes you look at life even in a different way. Like, you're becoming more patient, and you treasure the life more, and you become more grateful because you're able to like harvest a couple of tomatoes of your own, versus going to a shop where you can just buy them whenever. And we like in this life, we are so used to just buying things, we get it instantly. And yeah, maybe that's why a lot of us struggle with patience, and we don't have faith in things, because when you're gardening, that teaches you a lot of things. Like, you're planting the seeds, you're watering them, you're looking after them every day, so that teaches you like life and patience and growth and faith. So when you yeah.
And seasons, you mentioned that one little raspberry, but they only have a short window that they actually flourish. And when you're growing them, it takes time. It takes, a couple months to get that one berry. Otherwise, you just go to the store and you get them once a week, and yeah, they taste okay, but nothing tastes better than that one that you waited months for. And it's just a tiny little berry, but it's so good. And that seasons, we all go through seasons in life, and sometimes they're good and great, sometimes they're prosperous, other times there's drought, sometimes there's no rain, sometimes there's storms and all sorts of other circumstances that impact that season, and that's just part of life.
Yeah. That's true, 100%. There's so much like we can learn from nature as humans, like from the seasons, from the way animals act, from the way things grow. And it's so beautiful, like when we look at life in that way, where we allow like lessons to come through whatever, like just those normal moments in life and nature and stuff that just surrounds us on a daily basis.
It's just part of the travel and the journey and the day-to-day that we get to enjoy. And
yeah, and that's what life is about.
It's all a blessing. Every day is a blessing. It's every day you wake up, you have the chance to completely change yourself, completely change what you're doing, and it's never too late.
Yeah, it's never too late to do things 100%, or to change your path, go different direction, and to change your life. Because 100%, like a lot of people, they think in a very negative way. They think like, oh, it's too late for me to start something new, or it's too late for a change to happen, it's too late for me to like do certain things. But no, like, it may be according to you, but God's time, and it's always perfect. It's never too late.
Nope.
Only you have to allow yourself. And mindset, it's really important. Mindset, it's really, really important. It doesn't matter what you want to do in life, just learning more about how we operate, how like things from the past impact you moving forward, how to get rid of these blocks that prevent you from going somewhere. That's really essential in order to grow and get somewhere like in life, because anything is possible really once you put your mind on it. But it all starts with a decision, doesn't it? Decisions are so important.
Well, what would be your biggest piece of advice to somebody struggling out there who just wants more out of life, who just feel like they're stuck and they don't know what to do, they don't know where to go? they're just stuck in their own mind, and just doubt keeps them captive.
Mhm. My biggest piece of advice is to stop attaching your past to where you can get in life, because your past mistakes, your past, where you grew up, who you have been in the past, doesn't determine where you can get in life. But also, it's important to have a clear vision as to what you want in life. So it's kind of like what I said before. To have a clear vision where you want to like where you want to head in life, what you want to have in life, where you want to go. It's important to answer yourself that question, like I said before, like what do you really want out of life, and really don't attach money, circumstances, like relationships to it. Just what do you really want, and sitting with yourself, like even for a couple of weeks if you need to, reflecting on that question is gonna entirely change your life. So yeah, sometimes you can do that internally because it is all internal work, but a lot of the times what people struggle with is mindset, that they need a lot of mindset work. So what I did to change my life personally was I like signed up for different master classes, but then when I was like broke, I would just listen to podcasts, I would listen to motivational videos, mindset stuff, whatever stuff that would be like interesting to me at the moment. Whatever I struggled with, I would just simply go on YouTube, type this into the search bar, scroll and see what video interests me, and I would click on it and I would listen to it. And if I would be on the public transport, I would listen to it. If I would be cooking, I would listen to it, just to reprogram my mind, because most people feel stuck because of the fact that they just have this conditioning from the past. They have mindset blocks and they just think really negatively about life. They have certain experiences that they went through, and that's why they say this is not possible for me. But when you start listening to people that are not in your circle, so those people who are online, they have a podcast, they have some kind of motivational videos that can really change your life, because the circle that you might be in might not be correct for you, might be preventing you from going somewhere. So it's really important to learn from other people that surround you. And there's plenty of resources online. I mean, free resources. You're paying for the internet already. Why not use it in a good way?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the difference of, getting in your car and the first thing you do is turn the radio on. Well, it takes just as much time to get that station just right so you can listen to, all kinds of noise and music as it does to turn on something that's actually going to lift your spirit and give you some education and give you some different perspective on things. Or just, maybe you just need a day where today I'm not going to be negative. Today I'm going to be positive, and I'm going to choose the first thing that's the most positive, sound audio that I can listen to.
Yep, that's where my whole journey started. Was it just started with one Facebook video, and then just watched another one and another one and another one, and I started reading stuff and listening to podcasts and this and that. Yeah, like you said, there's so many free resources out there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just start listening to something positive and uplifting. That's where it all begins.
Yeah. Just look for the answers to the questions that you have in your head. Like, how do I change my life? Look it up. Like, learn from other people, shift your mindset, because positive thinking, it's not, some people say like toxic positivity. It's not about toxic positivity, because you can be positive and you can still be struggling, but it's more to do with like putting yourself down without even realizing. So being more positive and looking at things differently can really change your life. I found that like the main reason why I was depressed and I became so unhappy was because I was thinking really negatively about my life. I was looking at things in a wrong way. But then when I switched my mindset, when I stopped looking at it from this negative lens, then my whole life transformed, and I still walk in the same streets. I still talk to some of the same people, and they haven't changed. it's me that changed, and that's how my whole life changed. So yeah, just allowing yourself to like learn from other people, and free resources are perfect to start with. Like that's how everybody starts. And the beautiful thing is when we learn from other people, we learn much quicker, and we don't have to we have to understand we don't have to figure it all out by ourselves. There are people that can give us the wisdom, give us the knowledge because of their experiences. And sometimes what's enough is just to listen to a video that's 5 or 10 minutes long, and you just get like a mindset shift. You get such a big breakthrough that maybe would take you years like to receive if you were to go about and try to get the answer yourself.
A lot of that negativity, depression, the mental frustrations that we go through, it's a very selfish mindset. It's acting as if you have all the answers, you're in control, and if you can't figure it out, well then, nobody can. It's all my problem, right? And there comes a certain level of surrender where I have to give this up. I have to stop this. I have to give it to somebody else. And often that takes multiple different shapes. It could be as simple as, instead of speaking today, I'm going to ask a question. Instead of saying something, I'm going to listen. Instead of, telling somebody something, it's let somebody tell you what to do. There's a very kind of liberating feeling. It's fearful at first to give something up, especially into faith. It's releasing control of it. And once you can release it, if it's not meant to be, it's going to go away. If it's meant to be, it'll come back in a completely different light.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, because majority of people have a lot of anger and frustration because of the things that they can't even control. Like I used to be very negative. I would go in a shop and there would be like a long queue, and I would get annoyed. Like, why are people taking so long? Like, why is it so busy? You can't control that. You cannot. Everybody is entitled to be in that shop at the same time as you. And even simple stuff like that impact you so negatively that you start being more hateful. And instead of focusing on actually creating a future that you want to have and the life that you want to have, you're focusing on that negativity. You replay it in your head, and you're using up all your precious energy by on focusing on what's just not serving you in any way. So yeah, where attention goes, energy flows, right? Like focus, what do you focus on a daily basis will determine where you're gonna head in life.
Yeah, I used to get very frustrated at, similar, something I would struggle a lot with is traffic, getting stuff in traffic. And I started thinking of it as, maybe this traffic is happening for a reason. If there wasn't traffic, maybe I might get in an accident. I'm in traffic. I get to enjoy and see these things that I'm normally zooming by. So it's just changing your perspective on the situation. Instead of being frustrated by something, look to the potential positive of it, of why you might be waiting in a long line or why I might be stuck in traffic, things like that. So it's again, it just comes back to mindset, perspective.
Yeah, and it's such a small thing, isn't it? But it makes so much difference.
Yeah.
So much difference, because like it kind of goes back to the topic that we were talking about. Like the simple moments make up majority of our life. So if all we do during those simple moments is get frustrated, annoyed, negative, that's gonna determine how we live our whole day and how we live our whole life in the end. And those things are so important to change, like just changing that mindset, making those small huge shifts in your mindset can just make you so much happier. Realizing that things happen for a reason. There might be a traffic because like God is protecting me at the moment. Just having that trust and not getting annoyed by the things you can't control. What's the point? And it's hard sometimes, not being able to control our lives entirely. And it's normal to get frustrated, but it's important to just kind of pick yourself up after it and realizing that it's okay. Things will work out in the end and it's going to be fine.
100%.
Absolutely. Well, I think we're past our time here. We've got a time zone difference, so we don't want to take up too much. But if there's people out there interested in finding you, connecting with you, or otherwise finding your books, how do they find you?
Yeah, thank you so much. So the best way to find me is on Facebook. I am the most active on Facebook. People can find me by looking up my name. That's where I am the most active. I go live. People can message me, connect, and see what I'm about. And I also have a YouTube channel as well, which is called Invisible Mindset. And I post there videos about mindset, of course, and like book publishing, business, strategy, passive income, and all that stuff. So if anybody who is listening is interested in this kind of topics that can help you like get motivation and inspired, that's a beautiful place to tune into this kind of stuff. It's kind of like I coach on YouTube for free. So those are the best two places. I'm also on Instagram. I'm not too active there though. It's not really a platform that I am too familiar with and a fan of, but I am there as well, so people can find me on it. But yeah, Facebook, I would say it's probably the best place.
We'll
Excellent.
put those links in the description and tag you in it then when we post this.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, really. This is a phenomenal conversation. Really super appreciate you reaching out to us and finding us, and taking that leap of faith in us and having the conversation with us. It's been excellent. So thank you. Really super appreciate your time and your wisdom and hearing all your stories.
Thank you guys so much. 100%. I agree with you. It was a very conversation. And I'm sure that a lot of people will enjoy listening to it. It was really a pleasure. And yeah, hopefully we'll get to collaborate on another video, maybe sometime in the future, and see where the conversation goes.
Absolutely,
absolutely.
100%.
We'd love to collaborate. And like I said, once you that first call we had when you mentioned your credentials on being a self-published author, it just had my mind blown, because I've been working on a book and I just start taking some steps towards that, and then Erin and I have these conversations. I think there's a ton of value there, and I'd absolutely love to get your feedback on it. So we'll definitely have to be in touch.
Oh, 100%, 100%. We can talk more about that. And whenever you feel like it, you can always reach out to me. Find me on Facebook.
Awesome.
Yeah. So 100%. And yeah, I always enjoy conversations like that are natural, authentic, because they're the most beautiful thing. So I'm really grateful for you guys and for the time we had here today.
Absolutely. Super grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dominika.
You have yourself a great evening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.